My name is Justin Christensen, the co-founder and president of Conversion Fanatics and the #1 best-selling author of Conversion Fanatic, How to Double Your Customer Sales and Profits with A/B Testing. And today we are going to talk about what goes into an effective experiment plan. Now, today is going to be a little bit longer than my normal videos of 3 to 5 minutes or so, but I think it's vitally important because so many people feel that split testing and conversion optimization, it's as simple as just coming up with an idea and then going out and setting up a basic test. But there's many more things that go into it than that. And I wanted to touch on that, pull out the whiteboard here and really just identify and show you what actually goes into effective optimization for you to get exponential growth in your marketing effectiveness. So here we've got just a basic website. And we've got things like analytics, we've got heat maps, we've got polls and surveys. And what we want to do is really just analyze all of that information to figure out what trends we're seeing in the analytics, what people are paying attention to and ignoring with the heat map and click maps, and then poll and survey the customers and ask them, why didn't you buy today? Or, what can we help you find? And we really just look for the trends. So in analytics, we're looking for, bounce rates. We're looking for mobile versus desktop breakdown. We're looking at demographics. We're looking at geolocations. We're looking at conversion rates. We're looking at time on page, the average session visitors, shopping behavior, and things like that. And then we take all of that information and we boil it down based on also user experience processes. So we have UX and UI designers and strategists here on staff at Conversion Fanatics that go through and see, what are the biggest bottlenecks? That's what we're looking for, is the biggest friction points in those particular elements on the page and that user journey. And like I always say, it's leading the visitor down the path of least resistance to where we want them to go. So we want them to engage in the process quicker, and we want them to find what they're looking for. And then we want to remove any friction or roadblocks that's taking them and pushing them away from taking the desired action that we wanted them to take. Once we have all of that information, we usually boil it down into probably 10 to 20 different test ideas, and we create what we call a test plan. And in that test plan, we're going to come up with the prioritization of which tests we feel are going to have the most impact based on the data, based on the user experience analysis, based on some of our best practices and past results. And then we're going to create the hypothesis to really answer the question why. So why are we testing that? So what rationale are we having? What's the expected outcome, and why do we think that's the case? We're just really boiling it down. And people always ask us, well, why don't you come up with more ideas? Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but really the test plan is a living, breathing document that constantly changes as you gather more data. Sure, I can make a list of 100 different test ideas and just go down the list, but we're not really going to learn anything from those particular tests, and it's not going to be as effective as we want it to be long term. Because as you see up here, we either win or learn, and we actually learn a lot more from the losing variations sometimes than we do from the winning variations. So once we have a test plan, then we're going to go in and we're going to actually create the A/B test. So we're going to put it through design, if those elements need to be designed, to make sure that it has the visual hierarchy and all the elements of effective UI and UX design. Make sure it has proper contrasting, that we're sticking with the brand integrity, that we're sticking by the brand guidelines. If you're a larger company, like some of our clients, they're going to have some definite brand awareness in there that we have to pay close attention to when we're designing out those elements. And then what we do then is we put it through development phase. So we take the design UX, once that's completed and approved by the client, and we go through the development and the QA process. Now, the QA process is vitally important. So many people think that, oh, hey, I'll just throw up a split test and it'll be, magically, and the softwares that do it make it sound so easy. They got the WYSIWYG editor, they've got all of those simple tools and solutions for you. But if you want to have effective optimization and more complex experiments, and even something as simple as a headline can be considered a complex experiment, because of the way you need to structure it in the QA process. So we put it through a rigorous 3-part testing and QA process that identifies different browsers, many different devices. We place test orders, we make sure everything's functioning, there's no unneeded flashing or page load errors, and make sure everything's set up effectively. And a lot of people think that a split test can be set up in just a couple hours. Well, in a lot of cases it can, but a typical split test takes anywhere from 2 to 10 days to develop, depending on how complex you are and where we're testing on the process and just how much integration we need to make. So from there, we take that and we actually start and run the experiment. Then we get our results. So we learn from the test, we learn why something was happening, and we're really trying to understand that question of why. So why did B perform, 6.25% in this rare example that I just drew on the board? Why did it provide 6.25% better conversions than version B? Well, or version A? Well, we learn, then we adapt. So maybe a test didn't go the way that we wanted it to, and we wanted to maybe iterate on that specific test and adapt it for some different thing. Maybe we see something in the data that, hey, maybe if we try this little tweak and we retest it, maybe we can have some bigger impact. A recent example of that is we were doing a test where we were testing price on a specific store. We tested a bigger jump and a smaller jump. And we found out from the data that, well, the bigger jump actually had a negative impact. So we went back, iterated on the smaller jump up in price, and then went back and retested just A and B versus an ABC scenario. So we want to iterate, report on that, figure out what we learned from it, and then either come back to our test plan and create new ideas or new strategies based on that results that we're going forward. Or maybe we find out that there's a different problem. Maybe we increase the conversion rate, or we increase the click-through from a catalog page on an e-commerce store to the product detail page, but now we have an add to cart issue. So those micro commitments and those micro conversions, such as a click-through from a shopping page all the way to view the actual product details, then maybe we have an add to cart issue. So now we have to go back and we have to then maybe adjust our test plan according to that the product detail page needs more click-throughs. We need more people to click on add to cart to push them further down in the process to that end goal that we're looking to achieve. So this is really just a living, breathing ecosystem here when it comes to conversion optimization. It's more so than just randomly testing some elements on some pages and hope that we see something that sticks. We either win or we learn, and we just look for those scenarios, those different trends in the data. We look for what the visitors are paying attention to, what they're ignoring, where they're falling off in the process, and we find out firsthand from polls and surveys and things like that to help them or help us understand better about their behaviors. And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to test on each individual page or element or process flow of what the visitors care about the most, what holds the most weight in the eyes of the visitors, because at the end of the day, what you or I think doesn't really matter. And we need to figure out what the visitors care about most. So we're trying to figure out in that whole process what they care about most, what holds the most weight, so we can set ourselves up for a bigger and better test plan later on. So hopefully that helps you understand that it's more than just running a simple A/B test, and that if you want to effectively optimize, you need to follow a proven plan to get out there for exponential growth. So if you like this information, be sure to like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and leave us a comment. Let us know if you have questions that you'd like addressed in an upcoming video. Feel free to reach out. And as always, if you want a complimentary in-depth conversion analysis for your own specific use case, be sure to go to conversionfanatics.com and request your analysis. We'll get that. Our team will dive deep into your analytics and your heat maps if you have them, and we will spit out some great information for you based on your data, and up to a couple dozen specific test ideas based on that data. And it's about an 8 or 9 page report. So go to conversionfanatics.com and be sure to request that analysis. So hopefully you found this of some value, and we'll talk to you guys again on another video. Thanks.